You are tuning into the Hustle and Grit Experience. I'm your host. My name is Prince Williams, the real Prince Williams, and I'm here to help you flow and grow and expand your mind so you can live a hustle and grit lifestyle. If you like this content, I want you to comment in the chat and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get more of this content. The title of this episode is called Tune Into the Right Channel. And we're going to be discussing turning the dial. So what I want you to do is I want you to stay locked in and enjoy the discussion, because we're going to get right to it. So this discussion is going to be talking about tuning into the right channels, tuning into the right station. We're going to be talking about vibrations. So specifically vibrations involving the law of vibrations. And the law of vibrations states that everything in the universe is at a constant state of movement. And these movements are vibrations. And the speed of the vibration is what we call frequency. And the only difference between one object and the other is the rate of that vibration. So this is the key to understanding and tying all of the other pieces of information and knowledge that I've given you guys throughout my courses and my talks. If there's one thought that I want you to take from my lessons, it would be the understanding of the law of vibration. Everything is vibrating and everything is expanding in the universe. So all of the other laws, actually, particularly the law of vibration, involves all of the other laws. The natural laws of the universe are absolute and they're so accurate. So what I mean by this is that this isn't theory. This is proven to exist without a shadow of a doubt. So when you're using this in your own life, it's learning how to use it as working knowledge so you can come into harmony with it. Everything will align itself with the law of vibrations, whether you're operating in lower vibes or you're operating at the higher levels that increase your awareness of self and give you power that we have as the spiritual beings living on this earth, living a human existence. You are so powerful, and the vehicle in which you express that power is in your thoughts, or is with your thoughts. All thoughts vibrate at different frequencies. And because of this, we now know that thoughts can penetrate both space and time. And it can affect everything in your environment, including the people around you. And let's not even really exclude yourself with that. there was an experiment done with water. It's called the Emoto water experiment. You guys can look this up. His name was Emoto. And so what he proclaimed is that through words or through thoughts projected, projected at water before it's frozen, causes those crystals in that frozen state to either be ugly or beautiful. Now, obviously, this is subjective, what we call ugly or beautiful, but we all have an idea of what we think is visually appealing versus something that isn't. It comes down to congruency of those crystals that have formed under positive thoughts and speech. And so when it was subjected to the positive thoughts and speech, they formed very nice and congruent symmetrical crystals, and versus the crystals that were formed under negative thoughts or negative speech or under negative conditions. When it was exposed to the negative conditions, they formed asymmetrical crystals, and they presented themselves as disformed or not very visually appealing. And seeing how our bodies are about 75% water. So just about every cell in our body is made up or comprised of water. You can see how you can either be speaking death or you could be speaking life into your very body. And so this can work on everything else that we encounter. Because think about the people that you speak to or the people that you speak about. And how many situations do we speak death or we speak life to? Once you get how vibrations work, you will start to fix how you use your words and your thoughts. Vibrations or words, should I say, are vibrations spoken out loud. And the thoughts are the words spoken in the mind. So they're essentially the same thing, but just different vehicles in which we deliver that information that could either help us or harm us. We can direct our thoughts by the things we choose to entertain. What becomes our dominant thoughts have no other way of becoming the thing that we're choosing to create in this universe. And what I want you to understand is we are the creators of our lives. We choose how we want to live, and we also choose how we want to see life. But it's the question of what is it that you want to choose? Thoughts by way of repetition become emotions. And those emotional states practiced over time becomes permanent, which is what makes up your personality. Personality is your personal reality. So literally by habit, you become the very thing that you think about the most. So if you're a negative person, that's what's going to be projected, and that's likely what's going to be you're going to be bringing into your life, because you're thinking a certain way over time. But this also happens in reverse. If you're positive and that's your dominant thought process, then you're going to be bringing positivity into your life, or positivity is going to be attracted to you. Unfortunately, it is easier to think negative because those thoughts are usually kind of polarizing. And they're more polarizing than the higher vibrations, Usually that a positive person would present, or so it seems. And the work to be at the higher vibrations, or the higher end of that spectrum, isn't an easy task, especially when lower vibrations are much easier to express, especially when you're in the lower states or the lower emotional states. And that's where emotional maturity comes in, because you have to be emotionally mature and become a master of your emotions. And the way you do this is learning how to be still and choosing to express the thing that serves you the most in the face of chaos. We just saw that this past week with the Oscars, and with Will Smith being very emotional and lashing out at his friend about something. Yes, it was just lack of a better word. It was heartbreaking for his wife, but there was a better way to handle that. But because he let his emotions overcome him, now he has to face the repercussions of those. He chose. And this is specifically why I don't talk about the law of attraction, because it brings up so many things in people's minds of what they think that is. But basically, the law of attraction is always going on. And it's simple. You attract not what you want, but you attract what you are. So it actually works hand in hand with the law of vibrations. It's actually a part of the overall law. Whatever is your predominant vibration, whether it's high or low, you will continue to attract more of that, whether you know consciously that you're doing that or not. In this instance, opposites don't attract; they actually propel. So, in the law of attraction, the same energy will bring itself to you, or that similar energy will be attracted to you. So that's the basis of what that saying is: what goes around comes around. Most people use this as an argument for karma, but it's more than that. It's the realization that you can't bring goodness to yourself if you're practicing badness. And that's simplicity at its finest, because it doesn't get any easier to define than that. I'm always saying in my lessons, think about what you're thinking about. And this is why, because you're bound to bring that very thing that you're thinking about into your life, and vice versa. And this should give you tremendous power in knowing this at the deeper levels, because think about how much you create, or you've created instances in your life. You need to take responsibility for that. And that's taking responsibility for your life. So you need to just pull yourself out of that victim mentality, become more aware of your thoughts, and be careful what you allow to be there. Understand, life is life. It's going to unfold, and sometimes in ways that we didn't expect. That's just the expansion of the universe. But many times those negative or bad things that happen to us is just a product of our mind, or our mind state. I don't say this to bring you into guilt, because because what I want to try to do is bring you into the increased awareness of how this process works. I do want you to see the power of your thoughts, and that you do have complete control And you have the control to replace or redirect those negative thoughts that you practice over time. And that's when you will begin to see your life change. Stephen Hawking developed this scale of consciousness. You guys should look it up, which gives levels and a number system to the vibrations. He uses an inverted pyramid, where the base of the pyramid is at the top and the point of the pyramid is at the bottom. And this is where the things get interesting, because at the top base are the higher value numbers and at the bottom are the lower numbers. So he ultimately references lower vibrations as being contracted. And when you're in higher vibrations, you are expanding. So as you're expanding into that wider base of the pyramid, because the peak of the pyramid or the bottom of the pyramid, if you can kind of visually understand, you are contracted. So you're limited. And truthfully, this is where your thinking is small at that level. When you're expanding, you're literally limitless. And I'm going to show you why. See, emotional states or thought patterns go from one extreme to the other. But we have some continuums in between. At the pyramid peak or the lower vibrations, you get guilt, fear, grief, and shame. At the higher base of the pyramid, you get emotions like acceptance, reason, love, peace. And you can even go higher where you're transcending into enlightenment. And obviously the emotions in between, you flow from one to the other depending on your motivations. So those motivations in between those two extremes are desire, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness. And depending on those contexts, those vibrations can be great and those can be not so great. But most times they're better than hanging out in that lower level of the pyramid. You understand what I'm saying? So my question to you is, where would you like to vibrate naturally? So the things that you want to be vibrated to you would be attracted to you. You have to have a clean mind to set you up for success in attracting the good things into your life. You do not have to succumb to the thoughts that are created by the chaoses in your life. Understand this. You are not your thoughts. In spite of what you're taught, what you're hearing in your head are just the whispers of past programmings from things that you were taught that you never challenged over the years from the people that you valued as authorities in your life. I really want you to understand that. These can also be the past beliefs, preconceptions, and other frequencies that you picked up from the media and other forms of information that went unchecked. They are not always your thoughts. They are not who you are. So when changing your vibrations is about getting increasingly aware of what is being said in your mind, acknowledging it, and choosing what you want to accept. And also what you don't want to accept, because that what you don't want to accept doesn't serve you anymore. It's pivotal that you can quiet your mind long enough to listen and make a decision to choose how you're going to respond to any situation. We've all heard it's best to think before you speak or even respond to any stimulus, especially if you're in a charged type of situation. Thinking before you speak gives you enough time for your mind to relax, get out of the fight or flight, So you're not making decisions from the lower levels of emotions. When you can think clearly, that's when you are increasing your awareness and you're operating out of the higher vibrations naturally at that point. And that's when you're expanding your awareness, which increases the likelihood of you having the best outcome in your decision-making process. Just because you're having lower vibrations doesn't mean that you have to identify with those thoughts. You truly do have the power to choose. It's just like a radio. When using a radio, by the way, which uses radio frequencies to transmit the information, and so those frequencies travel along different vibrations. You could choose what you want to listen to on the radio, just like you could choose what you want to listen to in your mind. If it's something on the radio you don't want to listen to for whatever reason, because you're not vibing with that station or that song, you keep turning the dial eventually until you turn the channel that resonates with you or the vibe that you're on. This is exactly how it works in the mind and your thoughts. If it's something that you don't want to listen to or something that doesn't make you feel good or isn't productive, keep turning the dial. Eventually you will find a station that makes you want to sing along, right? But it takes some mindfulness, which is a skill, and it takes some practice to increase your awareness to be able to change the dial and turn the station that's going to elevate your vibrations. The takeaway here is vibrations are very real. And even though it can't necessarily be seen by your senses, it can be felt. But the more you become in touch with your deeper intuitions, you can definitely sense what's happening on the inside of you or around you. These things present themselves in our reality every day. No matter what's happening on in your plane of existence, is all around you. One way to understand this skill or intuition is think about a time where you felt something or you felt some kind of way about someone or something. It could be good or bad. That was your intuition detecting the energy of the room about someone or something. This is the feeling in your awareness when you can expand it enough and trust the feeling. That's what people call the gut feeling. Most times it won't let you down. It's like having sight without being able to see, because you're able to project into the future, even for just a moment, and know what can possibly come from that situation. You know, that's the wisdom of the older folks or the older people, because some of their choices or decision-making process was based off of experience, but it was also mixed with being able to trust their gut feelings enough to pull together a general sense of what's going on so they can make a better decision. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. This means, again, we could choose how we want to respond and how we're going to move forward after we experience life's unfolding. The question you need to be asking yourself, do you want to suffer or do you want to flow? Flow doesn't mean that nothing bad isn't going to happen to you. That's the furthest from the truth. Actually, it means that you're not trying to control anything, but you just go with whatever is you go with whatever without offering any resistance to that situation. Because what you let exist in your reality will surely persist. And when you can consistently get to the higher levels of vibrations like love and peace and joy, hopefully one day enlightenment, at some point you can experience peace that surpasses your understanding. The people around you will be wondering, how can you remain calm when things around you are happening and there's chaos around you? But let me tell you, the magic happens in the chaos, whether you believe it or not. It is possible to have that mind state, to think like that. But obviously we all have a path and a journey to go on. It is not easy. But that's the hustle and the grit experience. You have to understand that with this mindset, in spite of what seems impossible, nothing is impossible with God. And I don't want that to cause any separation. You can insert, because I insert God, you can use that interchangeably with whatever you believe. The point of that is you believe that there's something higher than yourself. You can see that in the world around you and all the things that work together beautifully. And as when you see that nothing was ever wrong. And it all works together for the good of the whole. This is the perfect plan. Even in the chaos, there was order. It was quoted that out of chaos becomes order. There's a quote by John Maxwell. He says, "The law of expansion and growth is always increasing your capacity. And that capacity is your output of productivity." Think about it. So stay the course, and I want you to learn to flow and grow. I want to thank you for listening to my content. I want you to remember to hit that subscribe button. Also, I want you to flow and grow. And I want you to tune in for more of this weekly empowerment and motivation. Remember, I'm here to expand your mind so you can live a hustle and grit lifestyle. I want you to flow and grow. And until next time, I salute you.